Hi Year 7 and welcome to your first GHS Dance Flip Learning video on the Glenthorne Dance YouTube page. Your first Flip Learning video is about exploring actions. So the learning objectives for this Flip Learning video: LO1, to be able to state the basic dance actions; LO2, to be able to define the basic dance actions; and LO3, to be able to examine basic dance actions in a professional dance work. By the end of this video, we want to gain knowledge about our basic dance actions in preparation for this unit. However, we'd also like to start thinking about how this links to your wider learning. So, learning about the basic dance actions will deepen your learning because we're using key terms from Dance GCSE, including actions and spatial content. It will also help with your choreography skills. So choreography is when you make up your own dance, such as using a stimulus. Now, a stimulus is a starting point. These are all terms that you will learn throughout the unit, so please don't worry if you're not sure or don't completely understand what these mean right this moment. This will also broaden your learning because you're going to use your knowledge of Henry VIII. Henry VIII was one of the English kings back in the 1500s, okay? And we're going to be looking at the context of Six, which is a West End renowned production about Henry VIII's 6 wives. So Year 7, my first question to you is, what are actions? What do you think actions are? Could you please write down what you think actions are before I reveal the answer to you? So actions are what a dancer does, okay? So it's describing what the dancer is doing on the stage, so what you can see they are doing. Using your new gain knowledge now about what actions are, I want you to have a think. Can you name any dance actions? If you've had experience dancing before, what kind of moves have you do? Or if you've seen any sort of dance production or a musical, what actions did you see them doing on stage? So there are 8 basic dance actions, okay? Now our first one is travel, turn, elevation, gesture, stillness, use of different body parts, floor work, and finally transference of weight. Please make sure that you have all of these written down in your booklet, but leaving a space so you can define each of these actions. So let's take a deep dive into each of the dance actions. Firstly, travel. Okay, so each of these slides will look like this. Okay, it will have the action, the definition, a piece of imagery to help us remember what that action is, and supporting images. So think of it like a poster. Travel. Travel is movement that takes the performer from one place to another on the performance space. So how they get around. So I always use the imagery of, if I was to get to school, I have to take a train, a bus, then a walk. So I'm travelling from one place to another. Our next action is turn. So turn is a rotation of the body. For example, you may have heard the word twirling, okay, or spinning, or if you have experience in ballet, we think about pirouettes. This image on the right is a dancer performing a series of fouettes. That just means lots of spins at the same time, okay? The piece of imagery I like to use is a spinning top, okay? If you can think of any others pieces of imagery, please write them down, the more the better. Our next action is elevation, okay? So elevation is the action of going up without support, okay? Like a jump. As you can see from the bottom image, this dancer is performing a big split jump. So I always use the imagery of standing on a spring and being pushed into the air, okay? So you're going up. Next we have gesture, one of my favourites. So when you move a part or the whole of your body but not using your weight. So I always use the imagery of a wave hello or a thumbs up or a peace sign, okay? Each of those are gestures. So you're not using your weight to perform the action. Next, we have stillness, okay? It is a movement without action or intention. So you think of it as like holding a position. So I always use the imagery of like a statue. I'm not sure if you've played any of the party games such as musical statues. So when the music stops and you have to be as still as a statue. Hence why the Statue of Liberty is next to this image. Next, we have the use of different body parts. So they're using different body parts within the same phrase. So for example, it'd be like using your elbow, then your knee, then your head, all to lead the same movement, okay? I always like to play a little game, and you imagine drawing your name, but each letter you have to use a different body part. Floor work. Floor work is movements performed on the floor, as you can see that what this dancer is doing here. Imagery, the floor is your best friend. Okay, so I always make a joke and say the floor is your best friend now. You have to stay in contact with the floor. Finally, transference of weight. So movement so that your weight is moved from one supporting foot, limb or body part to another one fully or partially. So 2 pieces of imagery here. Like a seesaw, imagine you're on a seesaw and you're transferring your weight from one side to the other. Or, if you like animals, a penguin. So penguins waddle, they transfer their weight quite obviously from one foot to the other. Okay, so now you have gained knowledge over all the dance actions, and you have also now defined each of the dance actions. I have a challenge question for you, Year 7. Do you think you can do more than one action at the same time? Please write this question in your booklets and then your answer. The answer is yes, you absolutely can do more than one action at the same time. If we look at this image below, as the dancers do their jump, they are also turning at the same time and travelling across the stage. So they're doing a travel, a turn and an elevation. Lots of different actions going on in one movement. Okay, Year 7, so let's reflect on our learning objectives of your first Flip Learning video. We now know how to state the basic dance actions, okay? So they are 8 basic dance actions. We've also defined the basic dance actions with the support of using imagery and images. And finally, you have examined basic dance actions in a professional dance work by looking at Revolting Children in Matilda. Remember to have your answers ready for your next dance lesson when your homework is due. So, before we finish, we're going to look at the assessment criteria. I know it seems like a long way away, but it's good that we get this knowledge of our assessment criteria now. The first section is choreography. So that's what you make up. Your choreography needs to demonstrate knowledge of a variety of dance actions. So ideally, you want to include all 8 dance actions in your choreography. We also want to see you accurately use formations and directions. Now, I know these terms haven't come up in our Flip Learning video just yet. You're going to learn what these terms mean throughout the unit. Performance, the use of the expressive skills, projection and focus. So again, you'll learn what these terms mean throughout the unit. However, I'd like you to start thinking, what do you think projection and focus could mean? You're going to demonstrate some use of mental skills. And then appreciation is when you give feedback, okay? And you'll learn all about this throughout the unit, but we try and use subject-specific terminology. So that means using terminology such as elevation instead of jump, or turn instead of spin. Your grade boundaries are emerging, developing, securing, and mastering. So to achieve those high grades, you need to include all these elements of the assessment criteria. Year 7, well done for watching your first Flip Learning video at Glenthorne High School. Please make sure you have completed the homework to the best of your ability. Remember to use your booklets to help you think about structuring and how we want the booklets to be presented. And make sure you bring them to your next lesson. Thank you for listening, Year 7. Well done.